Okay, here's the big signal. We're here.
We're on. Good morning, Vision. So good to see everybody here on this beautiful October day. Would you like to stand up and sing with us, There is Joy?
Abounding as love Thank you, Celebration Singers. You guys rock. Hello, everybody. I am John Kirko. I am not Reverend Patty Paris. I'm a little taller than her. And we welcome you here to Vision, a Center for Spiritual Living. And we always start our service and celebration out with prayer. So I'd ask Ann DiNapoli to come and do an opening prayer for us.
Taking a deep breath, knowing that that's God's breath. And knowing that there is only one. There's one mind, one thought, one power. And we are that individual expression of that one mind. And I absolutely know today that we are perfectly placed just where we are. That all of the events in the world we set aside for this moment while we remember who we are and what we are. And I know that everything in this service is absolutely whole, perfect, and complete. That Peter Bolland's words are those divine words he's downloading for us this morning. I know the music is divinely guided, the hands that play, the technical support. I know that it is all going absolutely perfectly this morning. And I'm so grateful for knowing that God is all there is. And I release this just saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Ann. She's one of our fantastic practitioners here at Vision, so love having her here. So welcome everybody online, everybody here in our room today. We are Vision, a Center for Spiritual Living. We have been around for 15 years, celebrated 15 years this year as a matter of fact. And there are, 15 years. We made it. And there are over 400 centers all across the world that are centers for spiritual living, and we honor and respect Ernest Holmes and believe in and teach Ernest Holmes here at our Vision through classes and workshops and all kinds of stuff, including the talks and things that we have there. So what our motto is, we transform lives through practical spirituality. What we do is, if you come here on Sunday, we give you tools to be able to go through your week, to make the week a little bit easier. There's a lot of garbage out there. We bring the good stuff to you so that you've got some strength to take that on. Today is Pastor Appreciation Day. Now, our pastor's not here. So we appreciate her. So Reverend Patty, wherever you are today, we appreciate you and love you and thank you. I'm sorry you're not here to be a part of this. But you are loved. Yes, you are. So what we do here at Vision is we pray. We pray, and we have 30 practitioners, licensed practitioners here at Vision. We do a fantastic job. If you're here in the room and you would like to do a prayer request, we've got the buff-colored prayer request. Our practitioner, Donna, will walk around with a prayer box. If you want to do a prayer online, we can do that through the website, or sign up for the Vision. It's just sign up for the prayer request, or you can send a practitioner prayer request directly by practitioners@visioncsl.com, and they will respond to that. I love our practitioners. They will pray on these prayer requests all week. I think it is the strength of Vision is the prayers that we do here. I believe in that 100% and love them for that. So please take advantage of that. And it doesn't just have to be things that aren't going right. It can be things that are going right. Wrong. We can do right stuff. More prayers about the good things that are happening in our life. Give me more of that, please. I know it's me. It's my birthright, right? So you can continue doing that. So, also, if you're new here to Vision, we have this little gift packet. It's this pretty little gift packet here that we give out to anybody. So if you're new here today, please grab one of these, take this out and bring it home with you, learn a little bit about Vision, what we're about, see what we do here, and then come back on a Sunday, or come back on a Sunday and join us for our streaming as well, and learn a little bit about Vision. We are here to help you grow, and that's what we do, is we give you those tools. So we have a greeting that's on this, and I want us all to say it together, please. Whoever you are and wherever you are welcome here, you are safe, and you are loved. Yes, you are loved. You know, Peter Bolland a couple weeks ago threw a little post on his Facebook about groups who say that. We really believe that. You are loved here. You are welcomed. You are honored here at this space, and I want you to know that. Feel that. You are. So, in that honor, I'd like you to say hello to somebody next to you. Greet and say hello and welcome to Vision. Hello, Donna. And you can do that online, too. So now it's time for our centering song. Our celebration singers, take us.
Good morning. My name is Donna Thomas, and I'm a licensed spiritual counselor here at Vision, and we welcome you. Please take these quotations I'm about to share with you into your heart as we move into the silence, and allow the tones of the bowl to bring you into and out of the 5-minute meditation. And just in the meantime, get comfortable in your seats and just allow yourself to listen and to open to these words. Never worry about numbers. Help one person at one time, and always start with the person nearest you. And that quote is from Mother Teresa. And from our founder, Ernest Holmes, the unity of good is a revelation of the greatest importance, for it teaches us that we are one with the whole and one with each other. The memorial candle is burning today for the sister of our practitioner, Nan Agresti. Her sister's name is Kathy. Kathy made her transition this last week. And we know right here, right now, there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence, one divine mind. And I know that as Kathy is missed on this personal level of here on earth, she is supported in her upward and onward journey into her next experience. And we know for her family, Nan and her family, that they are supported in love as they go through this grieving process of the loss of their beloved. But we know that they are loved, truly loved and supported by all who knows the family and who knew Kathy. And I know right here, right now, that said there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence. It is God, it is good, it is the divine. And each one of us right here, right now, is an individualized expression of this one as it flows through us. And as each one we meet and greet is a reflection of ourselves, for we see God in each other. We are all one, right here, right now. It is the essence of God speaking through each of us. And I know and accept right here that as we are one and we are moving through this beautiful experience called life, that here at Vision, we are here by divine guidance, by divine right action, and divine right timing, whether we are here in the room or whether we are here online. We are here by divine appointment. We are here to express the divinity within each one of us. And we are here to support each one of us. And it is good, it is very good. And I know that right here, right now, we all support our guest speaker, Peter, as his words speak to us on many levels. And we take them in and we acknowledge them. And we see what he is seeing, we hear what he is saying, and we acknowledge it. And I also know that our musicians, all of them, whether instrumental or vocal, are guided and are playing and singing on the love and on the guidance of the divine, and are singing and playing like angels and are supported. And I know that all of our volunteers, whether it be the practitioners, ministers, support staff, audio-visual, hospitality, greeters, and anyone else that I may have inadvertently omitted, we bless you, we support you, we honor you for your being here, supports all of us and supports Vision, and we are so blessed. And we are grateful for this knowing that all is well. It is whole, perfect, and complete. This Sunday has been brought together as only the divine can do. And we are so greatly, greatly thankful for this. And as I release these words into law, I know that they are made manifest and they cannot return void. They are full, whole, and complete and perfect, just as they are. And in letting go, I say, and so it is.
Today at Vision, we are so lucky to have the best soloist ever. That's not controversial. So, after a long stint at another center, she has spread her wings, and we are so lucky that she has landed here today. Please welcome Janet Hammer.
A lot of pressure. Hello, everybody. With a smile, you can show the world you care. With
With a smile, you inspire the world to share. If you show the world a smiling face, it will come back to you. You don't need to be crying. So good to see you try with a smile. The biggest problem seems so small, and with a smile you will rise above it all. Oh, it shouldn't be so hard to display the love of God, and I know that you can do it with a smile. Oh, a smile can turn grief to laughter. A smile can turn hate to love. It can make a bleeding heart forget the pain. It can drive the blues away, turn the night into day. You can do all these things with a smile. You can weather any storm, and when it's cold, you'll be able to stay warm. I got one more thing to say. Don't let them take your smile away. 'Cause what I say is true. All these things a smile can do, I know you'll see. Take it from me, take it from me. You can do all these things. You can do all these things. You can do all these things with a smile.
Thank you, Janet Hammer. We love you here. Thank you very much. So, I am first going to read the introduction on Peter Bolland, then I'm going to have my own impromptu thing. Peter Bolland is the Philosophy and Humanities Department's chair at Southwestern College, where he teaches world religions, Asian philosophy, world mythology, and ethics. Off campus, he writes a column for Unity magazine, has a popular YouTube channel, teaches meditation on the Insight Timer app, that's kind of cool, and speaks and leads workshops at churches, spiritual centers, and learning communities around the country. Peter is also an award-winning singer, songwriter, and poet, and you can learn more about Peter at peterbolland.com. So, that is the official stuff. But let me just tell you about Peter Bolland. So Peter has been speaking here for over 10 years at Vision, and very happy that he's a part of this community. This is his home. Don't let him tell you anything else. And you know, and we found out, I found Peter Bolland from Mark Danishofsky, our music director. He said, John, there's this guy, he keeps writing articles, and you've got to meet him, blah, blah, blah. So Peter came and started to be a part of our speaking. Then we found out that Peter Bolland sings as well, and started to become a part of the Folky Monkey experience we had here. And the guy sings amazing. So we were doing 4 shows a year with Peter Bolland and Joe Rathburn. So then he started teaching classes here. Like Peter and I were in the back with cots because we were living here all the time, you know? It was Peter Bolland and John. We were here every week. But Peter Bolland continues to be the light that we use to to beam across this world, and we appreciate his work, and I want to introduce Mr. Peter Bolland.
Oh my goodness. I got to meet this guy. You know what? It is so great to be. How are you doing, Vision? This is a view I have not had in, what, a year and a half? We were trying to figure out January 21, maybe? I haven't been anywhere for 3 years, actually, but it is a thrill to be here, honestly, and I miss you all, and this is, you know, I get the privilege of being a guest speaker at a bunch of different places, and I just love the way truth is shared here, and truth is spoken here and embodied here. It happens in a lot of places in different ways, but there's a way y'all do it here that is really grounded and authentic, and you can feel it driving up to the building, and that's pretty powerful mojo y'all have going on here. So I'm talking today about who is my neighbor, and you recognize that question, of course, from the parable of the Good Samaritan from the Gospel of Luke. Any of you who grew up in or around Christianity and know a little bit about the Gospels. So it seemed to me to be a really, it's a 2,000-year-old parable, but it has a lot of teeth today and has a lot of power because we're all thinking about that. What do we owe each other if as Jesus tells this expert of the law that, well, in the Torah, because they're two Jews talking about wisdom, so they're referencing the Torah and the book of Leviticus and Deuteronomy and others, where basically in Hebrew wisdom it is, love God and love your neighbor. And then the guy says, well, who is my neighbor? And that's the question, isn't it? Because we seem to be hardwired to be afraid of each other and to automatically hierarchize others and judge others, usually with us somewhere near the top. And so I want to think about why it's so hard to really embody that value that so many of us actually hold. So we turn to the Torah in Exodus 22:21, where God, through the prophets, reminds the Israelites, do not mistreat or oppress a foreigner, for you were foreigners in Egypt. How quickly natives forget that they came from somewhere else also. And also from Leviticus 19:34, you must treat the foreigner living among you as a native born and love him as yourself. That's not very ambiguous, is it? For you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. And then just in case you forget who's talking, he says, I am the Lord your God. So the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament as it's known in Christendom, is clear on the question of who is my neighbor. And the Gospel of Mark tells us that Jesus distilled all of the Torah, all of the law, down to those two commandments, sometimes called the twin commandments of Christianity: love God and love your neighbor. The rest is all sort of noise. And I think for Jesus, we can safely assume that to love God doesn't mean to belong to the right church or obey a bunch of doctrines somebody came up with, but to love God means to live as closely as possible as we can to God consciousness, to embodying the law of deep-seated kindness, compassion, and care, and not just as sentiments, but as actions. So over the last few months, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and Governor Doug Ducey of Arizona, I'm going to go there. I'm just a guest speaker, I don't know if resident ministry would touch on this or not, but they probably would. I know how Patty feels about this. I see her Facebook posts. So Greg Abbott of Texas and Doug Ducey of Arizona, they both sent bus and plane loads of immigrants north to cities like Chicago, New York, even to Vice President Kamala Harris's residence in Washington, D.C. This is performative politics, it's stunt politics, right? It's not earnest or sincere or good faith dialogue about policy or anything. And not to be outdone, of course, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spent $615,000 to charter 2 planes to fly 48 Venezuelan refugees from Texas to Martha's Vineyard, a tiny island off the coast of Massachusetts, where Barack and Michelle Obama have a summer home. I'll do the math for you. That's $12,815 per refugee, all of whom were lied to when they were put on that plane about where they were going. So you might say these activities fall a little short. And I'm not here to judge anybody else's actions. I'm certainly not the arbiter of who is the true Christian and who isn't. I'll leave that to others to decide. As a philosophy guy, I just love these questions and these inquiries, and to look at these facts and use them to ruminate on how I navigate my relationships with the people around me. So you might ask, where might such an idea have originated? To ship bus and plane loads of refugees, desperate people, all of their possessions in a Walmart bag. Where would they all get this idea? Hey, let's ship them north to these liberal states and cities. Well, in July, Fox News personality Tucker Carlson, in an off-the-cuff remark, glibly suggested that they should do just that. So there's a through line from media to action. And it happens on the left too, but I'm thinking about this particular case today. So here's the main reason I'm bringing all this up. What happened next is so striking. When the refugees landed there in Martha's Vineyard, there's a tiny little Episcopalian church there, and church members and government relief agencies and Spanish language interpreters from the local high school, some AP Spanish students, all gathered around these refugees. They were fed, they were housed, medical care was arranged. They emptied out the church and put cots for 2 nights so they could sleep there. And 2 days later, the governor of Massachusetts flew them to a National Guard base on the mainland where their care was continued. So some of you might be getting nervous right now. Oh no, he's getting political. Why are we talking about all these things from the news? That's fair, because churches everywhere, spiritual centers everywhere struggle with the challenge of keeping, politics and religion separate, I think for all the obvious reasons. And most of us, I think, agree that it's inappropriate and in some cases illegal for ministers or speakers on pulpits like this to back specific candidates, specific ballot measures. That gets you into trouble with your tax-exempt status and so on. So there's lots of reasons to kind of keep politics and religion separate. And yet, I'm just really also kind of bothered by that, bothered by silence. Let me ask it this way. Are not our politics, our policies, and our institutions of governance a manifestation of our values, an embodiment of our principles? Are not our values shaped by our morals? And are not our morals informed by our religious experience and faith convictions? And so perhaps, for these reasons, it is precisely the purview of religious leadership and religious leaders and us to take positions on fundamental questions of how we treat one another. And when necessary, to humbly but clearly rebuke the wrongdoer. And the word in that sentence that matters most to me is humbly. To humbly rebuke. Not from a place of righteous indignation or superiority, but to quietly speak for those who have no voice. This is what great leaders in the black church did. This is what Martin Luther King did. This is what Reverend Warnock did when he was the preacher at Martin Luther King's church in Atlanta now fighting for his political life against Herschel Walker in the state of Georgia. He wasn't afraid to bring the gospel to the ground and to talk about real people's suffering and how a handful of compassionate people scattered around isn't enough. We need compassionate systems. And so I have to turn to the parable of the Good Samaritan again. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. You've probably memorized it. But it's really short, and I think we need it right now. So I want to share it with you. So I'm going to the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verses 25 through 37. I'm using the NRSV, the New Revised Standard Version. So it starts like this. An expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Now we can argue later about what that means, what eternal life means, both in its Jewish context, which is how they were using it, and in later Christian contexts. But let's just leave that alone for now. Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And so Jesus says to him, this classic philosophy professor move, right? You ask a question and they go, well, what does the book say? Jesus says, what is written in the law? What do you read there? Did you do your homework? And he's an expert in the law. That's already been announced in the parable, right? So the guy says, it says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus says, that's it. I'm paraphrasing here. Let me get back to the text. He said, you have given the right answer. Do this and you will live. But wanting to vindicate himself, he asked Jesus, but who is my neighbor? It's a really good question. I love it when students ask that kind of question. To not just assume, okay, love your neighbor, got it, moving on. But to say, hold on a second, let's talk about this. Who is my neighbor? And to this question, Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan, because you might notice that if you're a student of the Gospels. Jesus doesn't answer questions. He tells parables. And a parable is a little symbolic story that is a very potent wisdom package. Because it's potent because it meets you wherever you are. It's as simple as a child's tale. It's as profound as the most elaborate theological architecture you can possibly imagine. And so parables are what a lot of great wisdom teachers use. Buddha, Jesus, they all use parables. So here's the parable of the Good Samaritan that you already know. Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. Footnote. This road, the whole audience in the room here would have known, this road is a dangerous, dangerous road where you can count on getting robbed and beaten. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of robbers who stripped him, beat him, and took off, leaving him half dead. So there's our protagonist, naked, bleeding, half dead in a ditch. Now, by chance, a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. It's like a joke, right? A priest, rabbi, and an imam walk into a bar. Oh, a priest, a Levite, and a Samaritan see a hurt dude on the road. Except it's not a joke. But that's a storytelling structural point for you who are interested in those things. You always package it in threes. So the Pharisee, the priest, went around. The Levite went around. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came upon him, and when he saw him, he was moved with compassion. Now, I want to also emphasize this point, if you're not aware, how electrifying this would be to Jesus' audience right here. Because the Samaritans, like, how do you feel when I say the word Nazi? You're like, so this whole crowd despises Samaritans. The Hebrews or the Israelites had been fighting the Samaritans. The Hebrews had just burned down a Samaritan temple. This was a blood feud between these groups. So when you heard the word Samaritan, you're like, "Urgh." Look what Jesus does with that. The priest didn't show compassion. The Levite didn't show compassion. But the Samaritan stopped and showed compassion. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, treating them with oil and wine. I guess when you hike back then, you always got your olive oil and your Merlot, maybe. Manischewitz, I don't know. Moga, yeah, he's ready to go for a vinaigrette. You got some lettuce? But that was a medicinal kit, of course, to use oil and wine to heal wounds. So he went and bandaged his wounds, treating them with oil and wine. Then he put him on his own animal. So he's walking, put the hurt guy on his animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And the next day, he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper and said, "Take care of him. And when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend." Now Jesus turns to the man, the expert in the law, and he says, "Which of these 3," talk about a rhetorical question, right? "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" I mean, duh. The guy says, "The one who showed him mercy." And Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." The end. So I'm forever powerfully fascinated by this story. Because in this story, you do not hear Jesus saying anything about believe in the right doctrines, follow the right authorities. And in fact, haven't the authorities in this story been absolutely thrown under the bus and used as role models of what not to do? Now, it doesn't take a theologian to see that Jesus is challenging the colloquial definition of the word neighbor and seditiously deconstructing the very notion of othering or us versus them consciousness. And I think this is equally radical. Jesus seems to me to be establishing hospitality as the core Christian or human virtue. Hospitality. Not about converting people to be like you, but simply showing kindness and care. Now, we've seen that hospitality for the stranger, the other, is a core value in Judaism and Christianity. We just saw that in tiny passages from Hebrew and Christian scripture. And I don't have 90 minutes to prove to you that it's a core value in every other wisdom tradition too. So suffice to say, it is. This is what Buddhists and Hindus and Sikhs and Muslims and everybody else I could think of practice also. And any of you who have traveled, especially off the grid, away from the Marriotts, have noticed that there seems to be an inverse relationship between poverty and hospitality. That the poorer the people, the more willing they are to share with you everything they have. People living on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy usually get it. When you have nothing, you know that you rely on others for your very life. This is fascinating to me, this call to unprogram our innate, instinctual, fear-based scarcity consciousness and self-centeredness. And I know that in CSL and in Ernst Holmes' Science of Mind and in this community, every time you meet, that principle is affirmed and reaffirmed, that out of consciousness comes our nature and comes our action. And we are what we think, and even more potently, we are what we do. And I feel this very acutely. You know, I live over just a couple miles over here. My wife and I walk our dog every morning, early in the morning. We kind of snake our way along the golf course and behind the park and through the Little League fields. And there's a growing set of unsheltered men who have taken up residence in what we used to call barrancas and ravines. You know, there are more and more, as we all know, in this time of what some of my liberal friends call late-stage capitalism. And I think they're more excited about what's next than the rest of us are, but the system's falling apart, and there's more and more homeless people all around us, you know, living right here than there were 5 years ago. The pandemic didn't help. It's hard to get numbers. Next time you take the trolley from Grantville here downtown or to Old Town, you know, to go to jury duty downtown, look down in the valley along the river. Thousands of people live there. You don't see them. It looks like Yosemite Valley when you're looking. There's so many tents. And so I see these guys every day, and they live a few hundred yards from my house. And I have to tell you, I have mixed feelings about that, right? And I think about all the choices that I made in my life to become sheltered. And yet I think about all the mistakes that I've made that almost cost me all of that. And I see them in that old story of, there but for the grace of God go I. How different are we really? And all of this goes through all of our minds when we see people like that challenge our sort of middle-class sensibilities. So that question always rings through all of the world's wisdom traditions. Am I my brother's keeper? It's like on page 2 of the Bible, right? Cain and Abel are fighting. Adam and Eve's kids, these two brothers, they're already having a war and competing with each other for their father's love, you know, Adam's love. And God comes down and he says to Cain, "Where's Abel?" And Cain, like a kind of insolent 15-year-old, says, "What, am I my brother's keeper?" So we're like, how am I supposed to know where he is? He's already murdered him. So that whole question of, are we here to take care of each other? And I think that, as we've already stated, it is clear in all of the world's wisdom traditions and cultures that we are our brother's keepers. You know, we have learned through our long evolution that our fate as individuals is inextricably bound up together as a community. And the virtue of self-sacrifice for the good of others. Don't we always bloom when we witness that? Does it not call us to our own higher sensibilities? That the virtue of self-sacrifice for the good of others is universally championed and celebrated. That the recognition of our interdependence, as the Buddhists might say, interdependence is wisdom, to realize that there is no me and you, there's just us. The Dalai Lama puts it this way. He says, compassionate action is the ultimate form of self-interest, which is a funny thing to say, because in Western philosophy and Western ethics, it's often established as a binary. You're either altruistic and you sacrifice everything for the other, or you are egotistic and you take everything for yourself, and it's every person for themselves. So which is it, altruism or egotism? And the Dalai Lama takes that straight line and bends it into a circle and says, actually, when you take care of each other, that is in your own self-interest. It's why my wife and I, who do not have children, pay thousands and thousands of dollars of property tax every year, most of which goes to the education of other people's children. And it's like, why don't people who have kids pay a kid tax? It's the other way around. You get a tax break when you have a kid, and then all the families in the neighborhood build a school for your kid to go to for free. And then we teach kids math who don't want to be taught math. Teaching math against their will. This is apparently for the greater good. And so I support that. I understand that. I'd rather live in a world where children are literate, can read and write and think, and start businesses and write books, and create opportunities for other people. I like that. That's interdependency. Taxation is at its best and idealistically interdependency codified into an impenetrable thing called the tax code. The government doesn't tax you because it doesn't like you. It's trying to provide all these services that we've come to demand, like roads that work and fire trucks that come to your house and stuff like that. So the line between politics and our values is really impossible for me to find. And that's why I wanted to kind of think about those things, not to vilify one political party or a particular leader, but to use those moments to really focus on that question, who is my neighbor? In fact, the themes that we're considering this morning are embedded right there in the word religion itself. The word religion comes from the Latin and then the Greek and then the medieval French, religio or religare, and you can hear the word lig in there like ligament. Religio means to link back or to reconnect, which, by the way, is exactly what the word yoga in Sanskrit means. It means to unify, to link together. And so we turn to our spiritual teachings and traditions. We come into rooms like this. We participate in all the different activities of religion because we feel called to join back into the tapestry, into the weave of all matter, all energy, all consciousness, and all beings. And when we come out of a service like this, when we sing together, meditate together, pray together, inquire together, celebrate together, break bread together, that weave is established. So I think the fundamental singular purpose of all religious ideology, all religious ritual and practice is to do that, to facilitate unification within and unification without. In the words of Jesus, which he just copied from the Hebrew scripture, love God and love your neighbor. And we define God in a lot of indeterminate ways here in New Thought, in CSL, not as a man in the sky, but as the energy which animates all things. It's more like the Force in Star Wars than anything else, right? It's the ground of being, like Paul says in that letter, or in that speech he gives in the book of Acts of the Apostles, where Paul's in Athens and he's actually quoting a Greek poem, but he says, God is not this being up in the sky. God is where we live. God is where we have our being. So that's right there from Christian scriptures, this sort of new thought idea that God is not this entity that we have to form a bond with, but it is the space that we live our entire lives within. So these are all fascinating theological possibilities to me. So it seems to me that when we come together in places like this and consider questions like, who is my neighbor, we are participating in the process of rejoining the sacred weave of interconnectedness. And it's not a one-time thing, is it? As soon as we have these holy feelings of oneness, then we get out in traffic and we're flipping people off and screaming and yelling. So I get back home, I got to start all over again. So I just leave you with that question, who is my neighbor? And the possible answer that everyone and everything is your neighbor. Namaste. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's why I always thought Peter needs to have his own church. Everybody's reaching for something, every day pulling and tugging, and always wanting a little more. Holding on to hurt like an anchor, treating those we love like strangers, taking names, keeping score. We all know what we're really after. Somewhere along the road, we got it backwards. If you want to get love and give it, if you want to feel some forgiveness, then you gotta let go and do some forgiving on your own. If you want a friend, then be one. Little bit of kindness, show some. You'll be surprised at how much finds its way back home. It don't matter what it is. If you want it, give. I've been downright stubborn at one time or another, and found it easier to bend. I've had a shoulder to lean on, been the one who got to be strong, and peace was waiting at both ends. Well, I felt the power, I've seen what it can do. It seemed so simple, that is true. If you want to get love, then give it. If you want to feel some forgiveness, then you gotta let go and do some forgiving of your own. If you want a friend, then be one. Little bit of kindness, show some. You'll be surprised at how much finds its way back home. It don't matter what it is. If you want it, give. Oh, wow. If you want a friend, then be one. Little bit of kindness, show some. You'll be surprised at how much finds its way back home. It don't matter what it is. If you want it, give. Oh, just give. Yeah, give a little kindness, baby. Yeah, just give.
Thank you, Janet Hammer. We love Janet Hammer here. Just so you know, we have some things booked with Janet Hammer coming up soon, so she'll be doing some concerts and other things going on. And of course, on our Sundays, always love Janet Hammer. Thank you for being with us today. How about the house band, too? These guys are going today. Welcome Tom Burzen over here, who's helping us with drums today, and Mark Denishowski and Jim and Fred. These guys rock each week for us. Thank you guys for making it happen. So thank you, thank you. So now it's time for our conscious giving. This is a time for you to be able to share in your gifts to us. I want to thank everybody who's already doing this online or auto tithing. Thank you very much for that. If you are giving today, put your gift in your heart. I'd like to ask Ann to come up and do a little prayer for us.
This is my favorite thing. I love conscious giving. I just know that we are, each and every one of us, opening ourselves up to knowing and accepting and receiving all of our good. And inside of that knowingness of abundance of God that we cannot give God, that we are giving generously and openly and freely. And I am so grateful for all that is given. We are here at Vision, sending out the information, the knowledge, the knowingness of that closeness, that oneness with the one mind. And we are able to do that through the generosity of our congregation. So it is with great gratitude I accept and receive all that is given today, and so it is.
Time for our Miracle Minute. Now, Reverend Patty usually gets some prayers or some Miracle Minutes to come in, and this is that time where we get to show that our prayers are working. And I don't have any right now, so I am going off script, and Reverend Patty will probably hurt me later for this. If there's anybody in the room who wants to share something, I will let you come on up. Come on up, Liz, and you can say something right here. I just want to have you on the microphone so everybody can hear. This is that time where we get to share in our Miracle Minute. So come on up, Liz. And this is Liz, who's helping me big time with the website, and I want to thank her for all the work she's doing on that.
I just want to share the Miracle Minute of Coffee Connection, which happens every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 9, led by Reverend Lori Sheets. And by going to that, I have seen such a change in my mood. It's improved. and I have had troubles with my back and walking. And through the help of this group, everyone in it, I feel that my mobility has increased significantly. And I just say that's a miracle. That's answered prayer. So thank you, Reverend Lori Sheets, and everybody who participates in it.
Thank you, Liz.
And the anniversary of Coffee Connection is this week, actually 2 years, and I think it's October 12th. Nice. All right, so.
And you can join that group. They are the Coffee Connection, Monday through Friday, 8:30 in the morning. You can join that by going to our website, get the link, and click in and say hello. So now it's time for the last word by me. Thank you. If you haven't had enough of me, there's more coming. So the virtual meet and greet is going to happen right after our celebration. That's where we get together online with our community, say hello. We've got practitioners available for one-on-one prayer. Join us for that. Love to have you there. This Saturday, we have a very special concert with Darlene Coldenhoven. Darlene is a magnificent singer. Mark knows her very well. Mark, give us a little bit on that.
Darlene won a Grammy singing with a group, Claire Fisher 2+2. And she was also the #1 call for film in Los Angeles. One morning she got a call at 6 in the morning to show up at Sony Studios. She was new in town. Somebody said, "This is the only person going to do it." A session was booked, and the singer got sick. So this was a Sony Picture Studios full orchestra, full chorus, no soloist. She showed up and sight-read the music to the film Poltergeist and nailed it and got a career, #1 call. And she also was the vocal director for the Sister Act movies, and they just had, apparently on The View, the Sister Act 3 is about ready to come out. They're getting their scripts. So Darlene, she's also an incredible pianist. When she was 16, she played a concerto with the Chicago Symphony, which is crazy. And so she is going to be here playing her composition. She's bringing a couple hotshot studio guys from Los Angeles to play with her. So please show up, I mean, we pay the rent at Vision by a part of what comes in for these concerts. So if you've got entertainment money to spend, if you go to Humphreys, you spend $100, right? You come here and you're helping Vision. So spend your entertainment dollars here, and we'll do the best we can to make things that are really cool for you to come to.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. So we also have a lot of classes that are going on and different things. Hummingbird is going to talk about her chakra party. Come on up, Hummingbird. This is this week.
Hello, everybody. And I just want to say I took a session with her, and it's awesome. With Darlene, it's awesome. So the concert, I know, is going to be fabulous. Anyway, so this Thursday, for 4 Thursdays, I am going to be teaching a chakra class along with my partner, Ron Young. And it's going to be October 13th through November 3rd, 6:30 to 8:30 here at Vision. First, we will learn about the aura. You'll be able to touch it. Some of you might be able to see it. Grounding the first and second chakra for the first day, and we'll move on to the next chakras after that. And then we'll bliss out into the crystal singing bowls in a meditation. And that's not all. You get a little gift afterwards. So there's more, but you have to come to find out.
Thank you, Hummingbird. And that's this Thursday. You can sign up on the website as well as go see Hummingbird after this, and she'll talk to you a little bit about it. Reverend Patty's got a class coming up called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. It's a 5-week course starting October 17th. It's an introduction to science of mind, and it's a brand new course, actually. So it's a little bit like foundations, but shorter, only 5 weeks. So there's information on the website for that, and that starts next week. We also have a concert by Dorothy Darling. Our own very practitioner, Dorothy Darling, is going to have a concert, a music concert right here. She's going to have a 5-piece or 7-piece band. Going to be fun. The concert's for free, and she's just selling her CD. So if you'd like to be a part of that, that is on Saturday, October 22nd. So next week, Reverend Patty Paris will be back. Her talk title is Good Stewards, and Darlene will be our guest singer that morning, so good stuff. How about Peter Bolland? Reverend Patty always says a good speaker or minister comforts the afflicted and afflicts the comfortable. We know which one Peter is. Thank you, Peter, for your work. And I also want to let you know, too, the Folky Monkey has kind of been on hiatus. We're not calling it the Folky Monkey, but Peter Bolland will be here with Joe Rathburn December 1st and doing the music of John Denver. So that is a fantastic thing that we have going on, too, so we're so excited about that. Larry, did you want to say something? Also, I want to mention, too, so we are going to have a new member day. So if you want to become a member of Vision, come over and see us. We've got some forms that you can fill out. We were going to do it next week, but some of us can't make it. So I made another major decision without Reverend Patty, and she's going to hate me later on. But we are going to do new member on October 30th, which is the day we're all dressing up for Halloween. So it's not the 23rd either. It's going to be the 30th. So we're all dressing up in Halloween costumes, and then we're going to bring our new members up here to introduce them into what Vision's really all about. So we want you guys, so if you want to be a part of that and sign up, we'd love to have you. Larry Paris, would you like to say something? See, the cat's away, and here we go.
There we go. Okay, I'd like to say actually two things. First, the Out of Darkness Walk has been on hiatus for 2 years because of the pandemic. It's back October 22nd, 9 a.m. at Liberty Station. Team Vision will be there. Team Vision this year is going to have a banner year of donation. I promise you that because we've had a great start already. So please, walk with Team Vision, speak to people that you know to make donations to help prevent suicides. It's an important, important event, and it's back. Thank you. That's the first thing. Second thing, for everyone, particularly the people that are new and our visitors today, there is a saying here at Vision, come for the music, stay for the message, enjoy the munchies. We have a fantastic hospitality, and Peter spoke about hospitality today, so we have a fantastic hospitality. Please stay and break bread with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And I'll also put up on the website all of the information on the Walk for Suicide, so you'll have information about who's the walkers. I know like Scott and Larry and Patty are all doing it and how you can donate. So I'll put that up on the web for the October 22nd date. So now it is time for our affirmation. So if you could please stand up and say those together with us. So we're going to say this loud and proud, okay? Everybody ready to do it? Every life is valuable and precious. I am blessed by your presence. We each make a contribution to the whole. Anybody like this? Which one do we like? One? Where everybody's liking one? We're doing one. Let's do that again. Every life is valuable and precious. Yes, it is. And thank you very much for that. And now it's time for our praying out. And I want to thank everybody for being here today with us. Come on up, Ann, and say our closing prayer.
With great gratitude, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. As this service has been absolutely perfect this morning as we go out into the world and spread that higher vibration, that higher energy, and that we know we are each other's neighbors. And so I say great gratitude for Vision and for this service today. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.